This is fun. This is exciting. We like playing King of the Hill. It's got some elements from Strikeout. It's got some elements from Demolition, sort of, I guess, with the different objectives on the map. They do move kind of like Hardpoint. For those of you who've come from games like Call of Duty, that sort of background can help you out. We are going to be jumping into our first matchup here today. It's going to be Right Turtle versus Hefty Cormorant in the winners bracket. This is the winners finals. At the same time, simultaneously, Banana Smoothies will be playing against Cute Hamster in the losers bracket for that semifinal matchup. The winner of that will face the loser of this matchup. But let's go ahead and take a look at our series layout. We have Factory for our first game on Demolition. And then King of the Hill, we're going to Icarus. That's been a very interesting map to watch. King of the Hill be played on with the objective. Hill number 1 is the same as Hill number 4. And then game number 3, we're going to Canals for Strikeout. Favelas, Canals, if needed for games 4 and 5. We saw a lot of hollows yesterday. It's looking like we might see a lot of Canals today. Before we get your opinion on this series layout, I need to let you know, Hefty Cormorant not only did not lose a single map yesterday through their run in the bracket, which means they went 3-0. They also did not lose a single round in any of their respawns. So King of the Hill, Strikeout, they didn't lose a single round, and they didn't lose a single map. Everything was a 3-0. Their King of the Hills were 2 zeros. Their Strikeouts were 3 zeros. On the other side, Right Turtle, they lose their Demolition to Cute Hamster in game 1, and then they come back and they win 3 straight respawns. So this might be a battle between 2 teams that are really good on respawns currently.
And that makes sense why they're in the upper finals in this new format, right? When these respawn modes matter so much, especially if they're scrimming on these respawn modes. Strikeout was not in the pool for the last 3 weeks. It's exclusively being in here for this best of 5 series. So if you were, doing your due diligence, if you were practicing all the respawns, including Strikeout, even when it wasn't necessarily imminent that you were going to be playing it, I think you might be in a better place here in both of these teams. Hefty Cormorant, Right Turtle. Right Turtle had some middling results, I would say, from qualifier 1 to 3, but clearly, I mean, their performance against Cute Hamster yesterday, even their loss on demo was close, but their respawns were monstrous where they needed to be. They were successful on Icarus. King of the Hill, which we're going to be seeing here as well. So definitely want to see what they bring to the table, because we know that map is going to be showing up here against a team that, like you said, literally hasn't dropped around in respawn at all.
Not a single round. That would mean 6 straight respawn games since they won all 3 matches 3-0. They play 6 respawns. They didn't drop a single round in any of those. So they're looking really good. Meanwhile, on the other side, Right Turtle, they kind of exploded on Twitter last night after beating Cute Hamsters in the winners bracket semifinals. And speaking of Twitter, don't forget, everyone, you can follow us on Twitter at CMG_Rogue. You can also follow us at Rogue Company for all the updates and all the information, the juicy information that's coming for the game. I know we do, we just talked about the new patch that's coming very soon, the Switchblade update. But right now, you got to enjoy that hot Rogue summer. I know I'm sweating. I'm pretty sure you're sweating. I've been to 1 or 2 cookouts already. You can already see you got the grill out there. You got Scorch. July 4th is right around the corner. She's dressed for the occasion. You got Secret. She's enjoying her pool time. She says, I'm trying to cool down over here. And like I mentioned yesterday, I love that Seeker is the one roasting marshmallows with an arrow, because it just makes more sense.
I couldn't even tell with that size of the graphic, but I do love that. I'm not a toasted marshmallow guy myself, but I definitely respect Seeker's choice there to get him ready for this hot Rogue summer. I mean, it's hot here, but we're seeing some hotter gameplay between these teams. Who's going to come out on top as the Switchblade update, kind of gets closer, right? As we find things are going to change, but we're going to see who ends up being on top in this meta, in this format in particular, with these modes that we're seeing. But Right Turtle, what, Blue, for you is the difference from earlier to now, right? I mean, looking at this game, them going into Hefty Cormorant, who were, way ahead of them in the standings, in the seeding. What made that difference, do you think, from weeks 1 to 3 to now? Is it just the addition of the Strikeout, just the respawn majority?
That has to be a key part of their success, considering you going all the way back to the beginning of May where they were beating Cute Hamster on those respawns as well. But, I mean, you have to take a look at this roster. They didn't play in placement week number 1 for Right Turtle. They didn't show up.
Sure.
Week number 2, kind of rough for them. Week number 3, they had to face Hefty Cormorant very early. I think it was first or second round in the bracket.
Wow.
So that was pretty rough for them. They did end up getting that number 5 seed coming in. Hefty Cormorant, though, did make it to the finals all 3 weeks, lost to Cute Hamsters each one of those times. So they ended up being the number 2 seed overall. But let's talk about Hefty Cormorant because there's a few players on this team that we really need to highlight. I mean, we have Cannibals. He's really been expanding his rogue pool as well. I mean, we saw him playing Anvil a lot in the past. He played a lot of Seeker, especially on maps like Skyfell and Favelas when he was teamed with Highlight and, you know, that reminiscent of INM back then. But now he's starting to change up his rogue pool. He comes in playing Dahlia. He's been playing some Trench. We saw him play Fixer a lot last week. Saw him play a lot of Chalk yesterday as well. And speaking of Fixer and Anvil, we are going to Factory for game number 1, and it is a demolition. So you will see both Fixer and Anvil being banned out. Right Turtle getting rid of the Anvil and Fixer being taken out by Hefty Cormorant. This might change things. But speaking of players on Hefty Cormorant and Rogues not being banned, Kestrel, Glitch, those are both available. So is Sigrid. 3 characters that are very strong, not just in the meta, but on Factory alone. And when we talk about players on this team, we have to mention My Story, or, you know, Best West player as his name in game is right now. But that's my Pstory, and he has just been one of those slayers. He has been the slayer for this team as of late. He's the one always getting knocks, always getting the kills or the elims. And when he isn't, he has a ton of assists because he is getting damage out there. He's playing the Kestrel with that Slayer mentality. He plays Glitch. He's most notably known as the best Sigurd player right now. A lot of people are saying he's the best King of the Hill player as well. So My Story really stepping up for this team, as well as Gotti, who's kind of like that silent assassin. And then also bringing back Who's That? I mean, this is the best he's done in any 10K as of today. And he's really been improving not only his gameplay, but with his team over the last few weeks.
And it's a team that definitely comes to more than the sum of its parts, right? Because, I mean, Kenny, I know we've seen make it pretty far in the bracket before, but the rest of them have kind of not seen this level of success that we have. But clearly, whatever they've gotten together on their side, the compositions that they bring, all of this has come to make a more cohesive team than any of them have been able to be a part of before. But Factory, map number 1 on this series demo, definitely expect to see that Glitch like you mentioned. Maybe we see that that Sigurd would be interesting on demo, but Blue, for me, I'm looking out for the Vi.
Vi has been a very important rogue as of lately, not just in demo where she's been kind of creeping back into the gameplay, but most notably in the respawns, not just Strikeout, but also King of the Hill as well. Vi just being able to create space, take away that space and control a lot of space. And what happens in those respawns? You have to control some space more so than you do in demolition. And that's why they've been so important. We do have some rogue picks being placed already. This might be a restart because we have one member who has.
I would assume
out.
so.
I think it was Emess. I would assume so too. I don't think they're on such a high horse where they think they can 3v4 the number 2 team at this moment.
Vi's a good rogue. I don't know if she's that good. I don't know if she can make up that differential there, but obviously we'll be remaking that to settle there. But from what we were seeing, that seemed pretty normal to me. That Trench that was being hovered by Right Turtle might end up being the final pick. He has been solid, of course, on defense on this map. But I think that plays into the Glitch fairly well too. If they do end up going that once the remake does come in, being able to, destroy those APSs, spot the trips, obviously, and see where people are rotating, destroy the barbed wire. I think he has a lot of flexibility on this map. We've seen him come in such clutch, just holding down highway and basically being a human UAV for the rest of his team to get info off of.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Hefty Cormorant in this matchup. Let's kind of talk about that other team now, Right Turtle, the European powerhouse, as I called them during the show opening. They've kind of been the best team in EU, but if you go back to the beginning of May, they had Emess, but they brought in Cool for Pulsza. Then the next week, Emess was gone, and they had brought in Amit Payne, who's now playing with Banana Smoothies against Cute Hamsters in that lower bracket as we speak. They should be starting their game number 1 very soon as well. But Emess, Pulsza, they're back in the lineup with Slop and Prosper, so that full 4-man EU team is back together, and they didn't look as great at all during the placements. We talked about that week 1 no-show, week 2 and week 3, very rough for them, especially going against the team they're going against right now. Very early in round 1 or round 2 of that week 3 placement, they only had 5 points. They ended up getting the 5th seed coming into this tournament, but they beat Cute Hamsters 3-1 last night in the winners semis, and now they're going up against Hefty Cormorant. What kind of impact do you think has been made now that Emess and Pulsza are back and they kind of have that original chemistry that they began this journey with?
Could just be a reset to how they were doing on the respawns earlier, right? I mean, they were successful at the start of the month, maybe just having that little break, having them go out and kind of prove themselves to the other members of Right Turtle. As you remember, the kind of dark horse run in the main event of last month from involving Emess and Pulsza there, having them be reintegrated now, they've kind of proven themselves. Maybe there's a little more respect. They're more willing to trust each other's calls, which I think is a big thing, right? If someone makes a call and you're like, well, if you're thinking in the back of your mind, I think I'm a little better than you, maybe I don't want to, be making a move off of that. Obviously, I'm projecting a little bit here about what could be happening, but just having that happen, I think that can kind of reignite some trust in the team after a couple tough weeks. They might have hit that level, and that's what let them kind of get off the ground running earlier. They just have to do it again now against a team that has been as proficient as they are in the modes where they were successful before. So, trusting each other's calls, especially in a snap moment, maybe not as important on demo when you can recover from those mistakes from round to round. You can make resets, but respawn, you can just get locked out if your team isn't adapting immediately, and there's not as many rounds to give.
Yeah, not a lot of rounds to give, especially in King of the Hill where you only need 2 in order to win that game. And speaking of King of the Hill, I think that's really improved the gameplay for Right Turtle, most notably Pulsza, because he can go back to kind of his roots when he started playing competitively, playing Vi, because she's so prevalent in that game mode, more so than she is in Demolition nowadays, unless it's a certain map or a certain game plan that you're coming in with your team. But he's been able to play the Vi, which means that he can play it 3 times if it's not banned out of the 5-game set. Doesn't have to
4 maybe for this map too.
Things that he's not as comfortable with, like the chalk and losing the bomb out of his possession in enemy territory, like we've seen so many times before Kresnik. But I mean, Kresnik, let me know who you think is going to take. I want your prediction on who you are picking to win this matchup. And while you think about that, welcome, by the way, to everyone who is joining us for our show today, both on the CMG Twitch channel as well as the Rogue Company Twitch channel. That's right. We are on the Rogue Company channel. So make sure you follow that channel if you haven't already. If you haven't followed the CMG_esports channel, make sure you do that as well. It's the same names on Twitter if you want to follow us there. Let us know in chat who you guys think is going to win this matchup. Right Turtle, the EU powerhouse, the number 5 seed, the ones who upset the number 1 Cute Hamsters yesterday in the winter semis, or will it be Hefty Cormorant, who have not dropped a single map in this tournament so far, let alone a single round in a respawn game mode? As we are heading into Demolition, we do see Kestrel coming out on both sides, as well as the Dahlias. We have Trench on both sides. It's looking a little
it's a mirror match. It's a straight up mirror match, Blue. And I just wanted, before we get into the game, I want to answer your question. You said, kind of who I was leaning towards here. I think if this game happens yesterday, I think Right Turtle take it, because I think they are definitely kind of rolling with the momentum that they had off of their previous win. Now that there's been a whole day to reset, a day for Hefty Cormorant to go back and look at footage of their gameplay and how they turned it around, I would still have to give Cormorant the edge. But of course, now that we're heading into the game, this is the best time to tail Hefty Cormorant on attack first here, and it will be A with a slight shift already from Right Turtle.
Yeah, slight shift back towards that site. Still no bomb has been planted, but they have plenty of time. Bomb, of course, in Trench's hands. You're going to see a little bit of chess match with these APSs coming out at the beginning of the rounds, just trying to get rid of all of that util from both sides as a barb into Cubby comes out, as well as a Vibe Poison that'll tick away just a few times onto Pulsza and Slop, kind of back them up. Meanwhile, Emess and Prosper getting fired upon through main. Now the smoke grenades are starting to come out. Emess did find Cannibals with the Halo drones, and now Prosper getting a little cocky with himself, walking out there. My Story found Slop, took him down, but he was return fired on by Emess, and then Emess and Pulsza just completely wipe the rest of the team from Cormorant out, and they will take the first round here on the defensive side.
I mean, huge round, I would say, for Riot Turtle. They had a perfect crossfire. Every single member was able to catch that push on A, rotate there. 2 players in each angle. They got it down with the Halo drones early. If you're finding picks with your util, I would say, on a pistol round, I think you are doing perfectly fine there. That's one great way to kind of hit the ground running immediately. With that down on Kenny, of course, the Dahlia Res was able to come in, pick him up, and let him start shifting back. But by that point, they had to protect him. They had to push out to some angles. Maybe they weren't really ready to fight, and that's what let them overwhelm them with the pistols. The Vibe Poison maybe just goes out a little bit too early on that side angle. That time that they zoned them out on the right is wasted with them trying to save Canny.
And once again, the little chess match coming back out. Look at the shots going right past Trench's face there, as the drones will come in from the Kestrel on the attacking side. And look at the trophy right at the edge. As soon as he walks into the site, it's able to take care of that grenade that came flying right at his feet. So that grenade, irrelevant, as he's able to get inside the site and get the bomb planted. Has a little trip mine surprise on the left side in case anyone tries to come around half wall. Meanwhile, downs are coming across. Trench on the attacking side was one of them, but he did get picked up, got taken down once again, and this time he will get finished off with the assault rifle in Trench's hands on defense. Slop was able to do a little bit of damage, but he did find My Story with a trip mine. The retake now in effect. Will they be able to have someone get on the bomb? It's an even 2v2 trade. Drones come out. That will find Gotti, finishes him off as well. Who's that? The only member left able to win the gunfight against one of them. Dahlia! Prosper jumps right over his head. But it's a little too late. He wasn't able to get the bomb defused, but he jumped right over his head and won that gunfight.
That could have been a win, honestly, for Prosper and the boys if he had just held back and gone for the defuse. I know that he was taking a 2v1, but at that point you just got to delay for it, right? You don't need to necessarily run in and actually get those knocks. You don't need to play the objective, settle back there, but still great delay by Who's Dat near the end, winning that first gunfight that came his way. Obviously not going to win both, but he bought enough time. That's what matters. They started that timer, and he made sure it went all the way to the end by just delaying long enough, and I believe probably having some utility left that forced the Dahlia to make the move from Prosper that they had to, but already shifting their defense. You can kind of see almost a bit of a read here. They see Gotti, and Who's Dat early nade by Prosper won't find anything, but it does get a lot of information.
Watch your step.
Shots coming out. The smoke was in the back of the B site, kind of in that short, not towards the wide open, where you normally see a smoke come out. Nice incend, but Prosper finds one onto Gotti. They finish him off with that incend. Look how aggressive they are getting on this retake, not wasting any time, pushing right into that attacking team. Slop, Prosper, Emess, all getting in on the action. Canyon, Who's That falls. Prosper did fall to a trip mine, but it doesn't matter, as My Story, the last member standing, gets taken out very quickly. And with all the revives coming in onto 2 members, they're going to have some extra cash in the bank while this defuse gets taken control of. It was 1-1. Now it's 2-1 in favor of Right Turtle on that defensive side here.
That's maybe an over-adaptation from what went wrong last round, right? Like, oh, no. We're not letting this bomb explode again. No, we are running you down immediately. But they already had the crossfire set up because of that early info. You can see the player kind of hugging the close right wall on the B site, catching one out with that incend. Just having that lineup from Pulsza, that punish from everybody else, it allows them to be that aggressive that quickly because they're trying to reset into their post-plant positions. They're not already there. Catching them out because of that full team push to actually get the bomb planted, it makes you have to have a full team retreat immediately after. And that's what Right Turtle were waiting for. That's what they were already set up and ready to punish. So they're already going back to A, it looks like, from the side of Cormorant, with Pulsza and Slop and Prosper actually waiting on B. Maybe a bit of a bait here by Story, but I think they might have the intel now.
Intel is a very big thing to have as he's jumping up and down on that jump wall towards the A site, trying to see if anyone's on that little jump wall. Usually you see the trench on defense play right at that point, but Slop's been opting to play with Vi inside of the cubby. Prosper all alone on the B site. A little bit of a fast rotation for the defense since they can hop that wall. He'd have both Trench and Vi there with him very quickly. Candy still with the bomb in his hand, kind of jumping up and down. They know that there is at least one, possibly will know that both members in cubby. Still jumping up and down, just trying to see if anyone is moving on half wall. If anyone is in main is the primary thing they're looking for, because if no one's in main, they can jump that wall pretty easily and dodge the shots. That's exactly what they're going to do once they get a smoke on the cubby and in main. Look at the rotation from the defensive side. Vi and Trench coming back towards main through the back of the factory instead of going and just holding that angle in cubby. Now they're going to move back towards cubby, but they had given that position up. The attackers didn't take it. Instead, they planted the bomb. They started to back up. The barbed wire is out on top of it as well. That's friendly barb at this point. Bomb about halfway, a little under half. And oh my goodness, my story with Stalker and padded steps on the Kestrel behind them in the defender side of Factory. They have no idea. Incend gets stopped, but look at that. Emess finds him on that backside. He knew something was happening as Slop and Pulsza clean up the rest of the team. Great awareness from Emess. He said, you're playing Kestrel, I'm playing Kestrel. You won't know, I won't know. We'll just meet each other with Stalker padded, see who wins the gunfight straight up. Surprise, Emess won it.
It was patient play, and I think it paid off for Right Turtle. As they got zoned out really early in that little cubby, that little corner, so they go way back, defend the res. They knew they were going for the res on the player that was playing over by main. When they get that pickup, they shift back. They gave up that position, but they were going back as two, so they could win a fight if someone tried to take it, if someone was trying to close hold. Odds are they end up on the better end of that gunfight. So they retake that corner, and they have plenty of utility to push with it after, especially with Emess watching the flank. Once they see Story behind, honestly, even if Emess doesn't take that fight, that's still intel that there's no one in front or less guns in front that they can push into. It works out for them, and clearly their defense now works. Canny tries to cross, but doesn't even get a chance to get picked up.
Not a chance to pick him up, and that is massive since he's the one who stops all that intel from coming in, or all that util from coming in on the defensive side. They have to smoke off the wide open area just so they can try and attempt to get the bomb back in their possession since Canny was the carrier. They do end up getting it. I believe that was Gotti who picks it up on the Vi, but he might have just cost himself his life. Who's that? Stuck in the corner of the street. Does end up getting a down onto Slop, but he's going to be able to get picked up, and then Who's That falls to Slop. And the attackers are falling apart, it seems. My story goes down. Slop is down once again. It's a 1v2. Make that a 1v3. Make that a 0v3. 4-1 now, with only 2 rounds remaining here in the first half of our demolition.
Yeah, almost an unwinnable fight at the end for Gotti. But once you drop the bomb that far forward, they had to spend resources to get it. They threw that smoke just like you called, and now they don't have that smoke to go for another plant somewhere else. And maybe they're feeling like they try to leave, try to fake them out, and then come back. But clearly they were patient enough to wait out on that site, knew they weren't going to try to do a full rotation, especially because they had Who's That locked in the corner. That, I think, was what forced the members of Cormorant to stay, because we're not going to take a 2v4 on the other side. Let's at least try to take this 3v4 here, and they just lose that war of attrition trading player for player, util for util. defenders with the first pick are always going to come out on top of that.
And especially when Trench was the first to get picked, that util from the defense is going to do a lot more damage from the lethal side of it, or just give them better opportunities to make plays because there is no Trench with APSs. Maybe he got 1 or 2 down there, but could have been used up at that point. Slop already finds one, and look at him in mid. The drones come out, but it doesn't matter. Wow. He wins the gunfight. Then he finds another one onto who's that? Finally, he goes down to drones from Kestrel, but oh my goodness, the disruption from that flanking Trench was massive for the side of Right Turtle. That set them up nicely as Emess finds Gotti, but Canny does return the favor. But it doesn't matter. It's a 2v1. They have the opportunity to get this revive. Couple shots, Canny got onto one member, but help from Slop, who was able to get picked up. I think Dahlia went down originally because she put herself in a bad position just so that she can get the revive on Slop, because maybe they didn't think that he'd be able to get picked up in the position he was.
I think, honestly, I think the trade out is worth it, because then Slop is still covering that angle. Obviously, he came in clutch in the end too, as well as in the middle, and I love that he's the one going for that play on the defense. You can do it with your Kestrel, but if you do it with your Trench, you can get picked up, you can get away. With Murder more or less trying to make that flank and actually standing again, playing your life as a resource, which is one of the most important things in the game, obviously, as we constantly harp on with Cute Hamster. That's how they play. And seeing other teams pick that up has been great.
It's also kind of like a mind trick, right? You're running towards sight, you see Kestrel in front of you, and you totally just don't expect Trench to be the one that's flanking. He did find Gotti, but he got taken out quickly this time around. Cannibals, will he get picked up? He does get taken out. Emess was right behind with another flank coming out. That one also just one down, but he gets picked up, so that's not an even trade. Now only 2 members standing, Vi and Dahlia, for the defense. Look at Pulsza making his way around, all the way around, coming through the attacking spawn on that A side of the map. Will he make a large play? We'll have to wait and see. Dahlia might not want to show face too soon. Bomb has been planted as well, about 25% through. Trying to shoot the Claymore, has a grenade to cook. Canny did find Paul, so they finish him off. So it's just Prosper all alone. And it looks like this might be a 2-5 half. Still in favor of Right Turtle. He did find one down. Cash doesn't matter when you're going into halftime.
Yeah, so you can make that attempt. Obviously, not the most likely thing to happen, a 1 versus 4 when they have APSs on the bomb and the bomb down. Probably not going to happen, but he at least got a pick out of it for the stats. That's all you can ask for at that point when that round goes so far down. But Hefty Cormorant adapted to that flank play. Right Turtle tried to do it again, basically straight up running it back, but they have every single person staring at Highway. Slop somehow downs the furthest back person in that whole death ball they had going on outside of B, gets down himself, and they trade it out. But the fact that he downs the one person that no one on his team can actually follow up on, and then they just get traded out 1-for-1 after that, but their downs never get finished off, as they constantly lose their lives for it. It puts them in a really rough situation. Slop maybe just had to delay it a little bit, because they were waiting for him already. Get that info that they're holding their roll back, and then say, oh, they're either waiting for me or they're about to hit sight, and you can play off that by being patient over in Highway.
Man, this might be a little bit of a tough looking score here for Hefty Cormorant, but they do get the defensive side. That's seemed to be kind of the favored side here on Factory in the past couple times we've seen it on broadcast. Maybe there was 1 or 2 teams that ended up getting a lot of rounds on attack just because they were really good at attacking on Factory. Meanwhile, speaking of attacking, well, Kestrel already doing so on the defensive side, finds Slop and finishes him off with the Halo drones. Each time, nice double nade from Who's That onto Prosper and Emess. This attack is falling apart for Right Turtle, and all 4 members go up in a blaze.
Unreal round there for them. Obviously, just util hitting exactly how it needed to.
Yeah, no one died to a gun.
Gunned down at the end. I think 1 at the very end, but they were also standing in a ring of hellfire of an incense and a vile poison. I mean, he was gonna die to something else anyway. I think he just got completely zoned out by that, but it was all util. I mean, double down with a frag. They got the Halo drones. They just ran into everything that was waiting for them, and it's just so hard to break through a fully stacked defense, especially when Dahlia can have those double frags so early.
Look at how aggressive they're playing on the defensive side of the B site. The attackers, though, heading towards A. Gotti and Canny will be there waiting for them. Looks like Canny's already has 2 trophies set up, takes out both barbed wires from Slop. Try to throw those over that jump wall. Now he's going to set up the APSs, kind of picks them up. They might be thinking rotation. Grenade comes out, kind of just baiting that out. I like that play, saying, hey, you know what? Throw your grenade. I'm going to dodge it. You're going to waste it. Nice little play from Trench Slop, that is, getting the better of who's that. But he is linked to the Trench on his side, so he will have that extra nade in his pocket. Still has one more. Rotation back to the B site. And already moving quickly, efficiently. They have control of their site. Defense comes in. And of course, My Story finds another one on the Slop with Halo drones. Second time in a row. And that's just the, it's the crux of being the guy who has to walk in there with the bomb.
I would honestly call that a clinical start of this offense, but now here they have to play this post play, and Gotti, just a pistol in hand, gets them, and they just stick that diffuse. The pressure from Gotti, no one else even there to challenge it. They just stop it, nip it in the bud before they can get anything else out of that round, and what a good start to fall apart with what they had going. Obviously, you know, they force out a bunch of utility, they get almost all the APSs out, they deny a lot of counter utility, but then they just walk off site. I get that you can't just sit right there, but Gotti winning a 2v1 with a pistol is not how you want that round to be going.
Then this is what I was mentioning before we even got into game number 1. Gotti with the 8 downs, top on his team, but you don't really see it happening. He's kind of like the silent assassin. You know, he gets 1 or 2, you kind of don't notice, and then round 9, we're looking at the scoreboard, and he's got the most on his team. So just the ability to do it all quietly and under the radar really allows the rest of his team to try and make plays themselves as well. Speaking of making plays, Emess finds Cannibals, will finish him off as well. But a return fire onto Vi. Doesn't matter. They finally get Slop once again as he's trying to plant the bomb. He gets picked up. Then he gets taken out once again. The drones for the 3rd straight time will finish him off. This is excellent drone usage coming out from My Story. He knows exactly when to hold them and when to throw them, I guess you could say. When to activate those drones, and they're coming in clutch. He's taken out Trench 3 straight rounds with them. Whether the bomb has been planted or not, that sets him up nicely for a retake.
And now I was going to say the real game changer here is how the utility usage has been, how well they've been playing around each other, but finally it ends up with a great bounce nade. They're both playing their lives so much, going for those reses, and then what punishes it? One person doing a long res doesn't have any things to speed that up. Suddenly bounce nade flying in, gets the down and the finish on the player that was already there. The one team that gets punished for going for that res is the team that loses it near the end. It's just so much harder to actually save your teammates when you're on offense. The defense, they have that whole big building to go into. They have quick rotations to cover each other. But if you're on the offense, you're either rotating right out in the open, or you're in a very dangerous position out behind, you know, just a traffic light practically. You're just one little metal pole or a small half wall that you're trying to res behind with the entire enemy team waiting for you.
Yeah, and the only person with a bounce nade on that defensive side will be Kestrel, My Story. So he's playing it perfectly with his drones and his bounce nade, knowing when. I mean, just the patience he has already. A barb coming out on the side of the box where you normally see that bomb being planted on the B site, which is where they will get it planted. And of course, the trophies come out as well. It takes out one piece of util at first. The second one gets rid of a barbed wire. Now Trench from the defensive side. Canny waiting for the rest of his team to make their move so that he can start making a way for that defuse. Meanwhile, Prosper did find Gotti, but there was a return fire. Emess finds My Story, and that's massive because he's the one who's been really leading the charge in these retakes, having to try and keep them off of the objective. Emess finds who's that with the drones, finishes him off, and Slop and Emess pretty much go insane towards the end of that round to give them back the lead, 6-5 now.
Close game, Blue, and it all, that last round got won all by smart util usage, holding those drones until the very end. You could see Cormorant were just swarming the site, looking for anything they could find, getting denied slightly by APSs, so maybe a little bit of panic. Suddenly they're like, all right, well, we're running low on this timer. We have to stack up near this bomb. We have to start this defuse, and then the Halo drones go in. They waited just long enough to get the maximum value out of it. It downs one, forces the others out with low HP, and then that's when Right Turtle strikes. Just a fantastically played round there, but it's not going to work again. You can already see two players stacked up on the right. It's Who's Dat and Story waiting over here, but they might be, are they cutting through highway, or are they going to commit to this?
Ooh, whether they cut through highway or commit to that B site, they only need 2 to win. They have not trailed in this game. They've either been tied twice at 1-1 or at 5-5, or they've led. So they are looking to try and close this out. Bomb has been planted once again. Prosper finds a grenade knock onto Canny. That's massive since that's the trench. He's the one who mainly goes for that bomb defuse. But getting rid of My Story, I think, is a little bit of a better plan, especially every time they have done so very early in the retake potential. They have been able to win that round, which has only been one time so far on the attacking side. Jumping over the walls, Emess, he finds one. Slop finds Who's That as well. Canny got back up and down to Emess, and now look at Prosper. He has the ability to res. He activates it. My Story, though, does find Prosper, finishes him off. It's 1v2. Only one member on the defensive side standing, has the bounce nade, throws it, takes care of the bar, but he can't chase as hard as he would have liked because now he's losing health, uses the adrenaline shot, and both members on defense, or attack, excuse me, split up and allow him to not be able to get back into position or down either of them. Great play from the attackers to stall that out. The bomb goes off. They're up 7-5.
And that's conditioning paying off, Blue. They had been kind of starting on one side, maybe shifting to the other. They've had Emess lurking on the other side. They start one side, one person runs immediately. The rest of Cormorant's like, all right, well, we got to meet him. We can't just let him into sight for free. And by doing that, they let them into sight for free because they abandoned the B side and what they were hoping to defend there. By conditioning them for fakes, they've just hard committed to what they were doing. Run right into the site, get that bomb down, and put them in an almost unwinnable post-plant situation near the end. Won't work again, though. But they just need one more round on this attack, with 3 still for Cormorant if they want to close out this map.
I mean, taking a demolition for the side of Right Turtle against Hefty Cormorant is massive. Yesterday they said, okay, Cute Hamster's probably the better demo team, of course, so we can just beat them in respawns. That worked out for them. But when we're talking about Cormorant, who's not dropped a single round in respawn at all throughout this tournament so far, it's I think the game plan is, hey, let's win the demo. And that's exactly what it's looking like here. A little patience coming through from My Story. Nice shots and a good dodge roll to get out of dodge. She's going to do it once more. Bomb being planted. They do get it down. Barbs coming back and forth, trading between each other, trying to get someone stuck in a... Speaking of being stuck, Pulsza was stuck in a bad spot. Slop, though, still in that area. Pulsza, though, can't get finished off. Slop jumps up top, and then, oh, he gets caught out.
Canny!
And then Canny finds Emess with a trip mine from behind. You can't trick him twice. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, that's not going to happen if my name's Cannibals, as he finishes off Prosper. And now they survive yet another round. It's 7-6. Still Right Turtle's lead.
Canny's got a laser today, Blue. He did not miss anybody who tried to peek him. Monstrous performance in that hold. Without him, that I don't even know if they get that post plant, because it's a 4-on-4, and all those APSs were just getting burned from both sides. They were denying so much utility, but then every single person who peeked Canny went down. You want to do a double peek. You want to try to set it up, but it just didn't work out the way that Right Turtle wanted it to. Canny guns one, guns the other, gets a trip mine down too. You can see why the trench is so important for spamming those APS and spamming utility and just gunning people down when it matters.
Yes. For those of you just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, this is our first matchup for today. It's day 2 of our main event. And we've got a little bit of a nail biter starting here already. 7-6. Right Turtle leads Hefty Cormorant. Cormorant, the number 2 seed. Right Turtle, the number 5 seed. This is the winner's bracket finals. So these two teams are guaranteed a top 3 placement for the money. The team that wins this matchup, however, in this best of 5, guarantees himself a top 2 spot at the very least. Right now, Cormorant need to win this round in order to push it into overtime. Bomb still not planted, 1 minute on the clock. Smoke comes out on the left side. They are playing on this B site. Ooh, a little bit of intel being gathered there by Dahlia as well from the other side. You do have someone in Cubby trying to make some noise, trying to get some shots out. Gotti playing all the way in that back door of the main building. This could be crucial. The bounce nade going in between that side where the bomb usually gets planted. Trip mines are coming out. Prosper finds Gotti in that back door with the nade. He will get revived, however. Someone is still sitting in Cubby. The bomb has been planted, and now it's time to just get out of there, back up, and watch the bomb. Speaking of watching the bomb, My Story might have been caught watching the bomb as Slop took him out. Poison's coming out from the defensive side. That's Gotti. He did get revived. Has the katana, has the weapon, has the Incend. Incend comes out. They're pushing them back. They're playing on B1 if you're the defensive side right now. My Story finds one. Gotti goes down once again. Even trades, but Gotti might get picked up again, and just when they're trying to pick him up, he gets taken down. Another one, and another one, and another one bites the dust. It's Right Turtle taking game number 1, 8-6.
Fantastic ending from them there too. Even if that had started to go a little bit awry for Right Turtle in that final fight, I'm pretty sure they still had I was just tracking those halos. I'm like, I don't think they've spent them yet. I saw Emess pushing up near the very end looking for that angle for them, but you kill everything, you don't need to spend them. They just shot everything that was in their way, so they don't even need to spend that utility with the way that they won it. They never downed the trench. They never downed the trench in that final round. They were constantly downing players that were not linked to that Dahlia. They couldn't get those reses for free. They were forced to come in and commit, and that's when Right Turtle snapped and ran them down.
Yeah, they just got really aggressive. They said, you know what? They're trying to push into us. We just downed one. They might be going for the res. Let's push into them. We know they don't have much util remaining. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from that first game. Again, 8-6 in favor of Right Turtle as they defeat Hefty Cormorant in that first game. We're going to game number 2. It will be a King of the Hill. And as we take a look at these highlights, man, Canny, like you said, had a laser starting off in this game. But Prosper with the grenades, just looking way too good. And then Emess, just the ability to use that Kestrel to the best of his advantage. I mean, My Story was doing a great job with his Kestrel play as well. But Emess, some of those flanks were not expected, even by me or you.
And they were, I feel like they were reading Story pretty effectively. Anytime Story wanted to do the same flank that Emess did, Emess just went to his own head, is like, would I be flanking right now? I probably would be. And then he would look on the flank and deny any value coming from there. But I don't think Story was necessarily flanking as much as Emess was trying to. Maybe he was just getting caught out every time, and we didn't get a chance to see it on camera because of that, right? They were just shutting him down. And I feel like when you pick a Kestrel, you want to at least get those plays once or twice during a game. That's the benefit of having those stalker padded steps. You can just ADS, walk silent quickly, and be able to kind of abuse these long rotations on Factory that you can use. But won't happen on this next map, obviously, and neither will any too hardcore flanking here on Icarus, because that Lancer ban coming in from Hefty Cormorant.
Well, Lancer being banned might be a huge shot at Right Turtle. I don't know how closely you were paying attention yesterday during the Right Turtle and Cute Hamster matchup, but that King of the Hill, game number 2, we saw the Lancer being played by Emess, and he had 61 elims, and I think it was like 49 downs or 6 0.6 thousand damage. So Emess justifiably has earned himself a Lancer permaban, it looks like, every time now, as they ended up banning it in that second King of the Hill against Cute Hamster as well. Hefty Cormorant take care of that Lancer. Vi being banned out by Right Turtle. We're going to Icarus for King of the Hill, game number 2. What are you expecting? I mean, I don't know if you heard me say this yesterday, Kresnik, but in King of the Hill game mode, on broadcasted matchups on CMG and Road Company, the only time Anvil is not picked in King of the Hill is when he's banned. 100% pick rate when he's not banned.
Okay.
Will that trend continue?
I think so. I think so here on Icarus.
Fixer's
I don't
also
see why
available.
not. Who's also available?
Fixer.
Probably see him too. Maybe it's kind of tough to
Slop
say on
played
this
him on
map,
this
but
map
if one
yesterday.
team has one, yeah, you're going to see him from both sides. Slop has him, Anvil on one side, but not the other. Cormorant. They don't want to go with it. They have the Fixer, of course, but
I'd still 100%
picking up that
pick rate,
Kestrel
man.
instead.
Still a 100% pick rate if he's not banned in
True.
King of the Hill is Anvil. People, they come in my stream sometimes, even when I'm like playing a different game, they're like, yo, what's the best Rogue Company champion or the best Rogue? And, normally my answer used to be like, oh, it's Kestrel. Oh, it's Glitch. Things, Chalk. Now it's Anvil, dude. You see Anvil in demo. You see him in Strikeout. You see him in King of the Hill consistently. I think Anvil is right up there with Kestrel and Fixer for the best rogues in the game. A lot of people are going to call me a very crazy, maybe even some bad names. Might say I don't have a brain for that one, but something's got to give when you see it in every single game. Competitively.
I get it.
Least. Maybe not in a casual.
I think I get it, Blue. I mean, he counters flashes, which is, something that some teams can really take advantage of to be aggressive. He has the shield to really lock down space. He has a great weapon, but doesn't really work when you're pushing in that quickly. 2 downs early for the members of Cormorant on Right Turtle trying to get in, but 2 traded back by Slop, picking up that Deadeye early, and now Pulsza pushing in for the rest of them. They manage to, it looks like for now, maybe flip control of the hill. Now they do get on for it, but Canny walled off.
Oh, we saw Emess go absolutely insane playing Anvil and King of the Hill, and it was because they banned out Lancer, so that's still the trend here for Emess. They will end up falling. Early rotation coming in for the second hill, which is where they are right now sitting. If you haven't played King of the Hill, you need to go play the game because it's a lot of fun. This is the second hill. We'll start to spawn here very shortly. 30 and counting for Right Turtle as they have control with a little bit of garbage time from that first hill. Now the second hill activates. There you go. You see it. Kestrel's on it. Now they're starting to pick up some time here. Only down by 13. Drones come out. Doesn't find anything, but Gotti did find Slop with the C4. And the rest of Right Turtle just kind of regrouping, trying to get ready for a collective push together. Who's that did fall low. The Scorch coming into play has been something that's kind of trending upwards because of the respawn. You don't see a lot of Dahlias out there. You see a lot of Vi's, which means that she'll be immune to fire. She'll be the only one immune to fire. And speaking of immune to fire, Canny not immune to the gunfire from all of Right Turtle surrounding him around that tree. I don't think that's a Zen tree because he wasn't meditating behind that after that.
He might have to meditate on what went wrong and why.
And the lead once again. C4 comes in and hits Emess.
Big throw by that. See if they can maybe try to go and retake this. I feel like, I guess you have to contest it, but at this point, I feel like you shift to the next hill. It's only 10 seconds left. They're only going to leave one player behind, and now that they're trying to rotate out to the next one, they're already getting caught and gunned down. There goes Story. See someone else on that kill feed as well. Now, there goes the rotation. Who has control? It's already contested early, but I do like this angle by Gotti catching Pulsza on that rotation. Now, Emess downed as well. This is looking good for a retake from Cormorant.
Besides the fourth hill, I think that second one is really the money hill on this map, just because this third one is so hectic. I mean, everything's wide open for every kind of explosive to come in. You just have that well, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different entrances into this objective if you kind of split those bricks for 2. So it gets really, really hectic over here. As you can see, every time we switch to a POV, they are getting taken out.
I think it's also, you're right about the second hill being so important because it transitions right into this one. They're right next to each other. If you have the second one and you have two players rotate out early, you can still cover each other and really make good on the next hill. But you can, yes, and that's why I think having that one is so important for the rotation. But they're already moving on. They're out here using these thermals too from Slop will really help them keep this area locked down.
Oh, and look at that, the sandwich from Prosper. Even if he would have tried and poked up and taken out the Deadeye wielding fixer, that is Slopodopolous. He's getting crazy. Slop finds another one. Emess found one. Pulsza found one with a firm grasp. This might be the first round this weekend that Hefty Cormorant lose a respawn. 1 minute remaining, 125. They only need 25 more points to finish this round and go to game point. But what I was going to say, Kresnik, is that you were talking about how short the rotation is from hill 2 to hill 3. Think about hill 1 to 2. Much larger. Even though this map is small, that's still large in comparison. So yeah, I agree with you. Very important, hill number 2. Usually it's the hill 3 and 4 that are the most important. Pulsza ends up taking out Canny as once again, and that's it. That's round number 1. It's over. It goes in favor. That's the first round Cormorant has lost. You know, earlier today I messaged Cannibals on Discord, of course, because I'm still in Twitter jail. So I messaged him on Discord and I said, hey, listen, in my intro, I'm talking about how you guys didn't drop a single map yesterday. I just want to confirm, make sure that's super true. And he goes, yeah, we didn't even drop a single round in the response. And I was like, you know what? I figured that was the case. Just wanted to make sure. Sometimes I'm bouncing around these stream VODs from the players' POVs and I get lost in them. They're like 7 hours long. And there's no break. You don't see me on the screen talking. Instead, we just see their lobby waiting. So sometimes I get a little confused. EMP'd himself at the beginning of the round, but it doesn't matter. The rest of the kills are coming in. Emess and Prosper. Slop's in on that action as well. Things are getting really, really not so good, for a lack of better words, for Hefty Cormorant.
No, they didn't have a single player go there to really challenge Emess. He just ran over there as the anvil, basically uncontested. And are they already abandoning the first hill? I understand that it's the shortest, but it looks like they're already gunning for the second hill. Other teams do agree that this might be the money hill because they're already taking gunfights here. 2 players downed and finished off, but 0 seconds still left. They're going to give up the full duration of the time here. I'm assuming for like 48 seconds-ish. For this, Prosper has to stay back, though, and they're just getting gunned down while trying to shift into this hill 2 space.
My Story does find one. He has the SLC in his hand. Pick that up off of a dead Scorch, or actually, that's his own. Excuse me. I'm losing my mind here. Rome said her hair on the skin looks like mushrooms. I think I'm on the mushrooms after I just said that. Gets stuck with the Semtex. Canny gets quickly return fired on. Also finds one. Slop helps him out, finishes him off. They have control of the objective once again. And they have twice as many points and still gaining more.
Here, have a solid hold here. You can see Slop trying to fight. Prosper now rotating back in. And this shield, I think, other than the glass immediately.
See, this is the problem with mirror matchups, Kresnik. We look at Scorches, right? And I always forget which Scorch is which. You know, we come from like Paladins. There's no mirror matchups. We're like, okay, there's an Androxus. That's Kresnik playing that. I know that. But now it's like, you know, you got 2 Scorches out there. Oh no, which one's which?
Well, I've cast a few games with mirror matches, including this one that we are currently watching between them as they shift to Hill 3. Surprisingly, though, this Hill 2 doesn't necessarily transition into a Hill 3 cap for them here. They already had a great hold outside, but you said it yourself, this is a very chaotic area to actually hold on to. 5 entrances all around. And so far, it's not working out for Right Turtle. Can't find a way in, but Gotti's self-down might actually make it a little bit easier with Emess running them through with the MLX and Canny falling as well.
Ooh, nice pickups and cleanups for the side of Right Turtle. They're going to regain control, get a little bit of garbage time. Actually, a lot of time. There's 40 seconds left on this hill, so not even in that garbage period just yet. EMP came through. That's something we don't talk enough about. The EMP grenade in a mode like this, because every time someone respawns, they're getting their util back. Imagine not being able to use your util, your lethals, or your ability like every 5 seconds because there's just a Scorch respawning with an EMP grenade getting thrown at your face.
It's a huge deal. It is a huge deal not having
because
that.
He's got EMP grenades.
Makes sense seeing if you see more, if we could see more EMPs, because denying that time is a big deal. And hey, if they had denied that ability, maybe Slav wouldn't have gone down so quickly, but the rest of the guns trained on the players pushing in will make up for the difference for them. Pulsza downing 2, sees Gotti here on the other side, and Candy with a perfect crossfire angle. Now they'll get a hold of this hill, and they cannot let it go, because I feel like as soon as they lose, if they lose another fight here on hill number 4, they're out of it. They can't give away any more points.
It's not even about losing another fight. They've got to get in there and hold it. It's not even about losing the fight. They can't let anyone break through, and that's exactly what is happening. Pulsza finds 1, Pulsza finds 2, and now just 8, 7, 6, 5 seconds away from closing this out. Prosperlogic getting flashbang, but the fire will stop them, and that's it. Game number 2, 2-0, goes in favor of Right Turtle as well. Hefty Cormorant, we juiced him up. We hyped him up. We came in saying they have not lost a single map yesterday. And then when it came to respawns, they didn't lose a single round. Then they lose their first round. Then they lose their second round. And that means they lost that King of the Hill. Right Turtle, they win game number 2, 2-0. And they win 2-0 in the King of the Hill. That puts them up 2-0 in the set. It always gets confusing, right? Because King of the Hill only goes to 2. Strikeout goes to 3. So if they win 2-0, they're up 2-0. And then if they win 3-0, then they win 3-0. It's so confusing. But they win the King of the Hill 2-0, and they're up in the match 2-0. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replays from that King of the Hill.
With the picks off, I think that was really what helped them kind of get in a lot of the times, him actually getting those C4 downs. And you can see him there running in with the pistol as well to get another. Obviously not enough to make a difference. I felt like almost any time they really put their feet down on a point and had a hill held down, it was just inevitable that they were going to get it broken through. They never had a long-lasting hold on a hill that Right Turtle didn't find the way to dismantle.
Krez, did you see a black screen, or am I going crazy?
I did see a black screen. Yeah, I just kept talking.
Oh, man. I thought my internet was cutting out or something. I thought I was going crazy. I'm going to be real. It was like, let's look at these replays. And I was like, did my internet just go kaput? That's why you didn't hear me say anything there. I thought I was gone. I thought it kicked me out of the show. The internet said no more, but unfortunately, that's not what happened. So you got to deal with me for a little bit longer. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, Right Turtle did end up beating Hefty Cormorant 2-0 in the King of the Hill, so they lead 2-0. Let's go ahead and take a look at what map we're going to be heading to in game number 3. It's Canals, and it's a strikeout. This map on strikeout it's interesting because it's kind of a larger map compared to the other ones, right? And the spawns are a little bit stretched out, but with strikeout, you can still kind of predict them. So once you get control of the site, your main objective, which is not like King of the Hill, by the way, you don't have to stand on it the entire time. So you can kind of just 4-man push into the enemy, try to zone them out and not allow them any breathing room. What are you thinking here for game number 3?
I find it hard for Right Turtle to lose their momentum from that last respawn, but this is one of my favorite strikeout maps to watch personally. I feel like there's enough space generally for teams to be able to actually get back in and flip the side. I feel like we do see a lot of flips here, but depending on what gets banned, if Right Turtle, maybe they can't sit on the chalk that they had in the previous game. Pulsza obviously playing phenomenally with it. If Fixer gets through again, we see Gotti on that one. Obviously, Slop had an impact as well, but I feel like Gotti's was more consistent. But they don't want to deal with Slops. Apparently, Cormorant banning the Fixer. Vi taken out by Right Turtle. Maybe we see the Scorch in instead here to make up for that. We'll likely see some res rogues coming in as well, the Saint or the Dahlia, some of those supports, because as opposed to King of the Hill, your lives are what you have to protect here on Strikeout on Canals, a wider map, some long runs to the site, so those timers are going to be ticking down, and flipping that objective is going to be paramount.
You know, I didn't really like Canals myself, personally, but then they took it out of the game, and like a week later, I was like, you know what? I kind of miss Canals. They should bring Canals back.
I get that.
If it gets fixed. Then they brought it back. And like a day after, like not even a day, like after the third time playing Canals when it came back, I was like, you know, you should take Canals back out of the game. No,
everyone has that map.
Canals, I don't know. It just like looking at Canals just gives me like those vibes of it's going to be a boring fishing day on a boat. I really don't want to be here. Like that's the kind of vibes it gets me. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of boats, even though those are like freight boats, and you know one of them's on fire, whatever it may be. Speaking of on fire, the Lancer is available. Will we see it come out for Emess? Well, I don't know.
Probably. They're gonna. I mean, obviously they're gonna shift someone else onto the anvil, but it was Vi and Fixer.
Okay. All right. I wasn't paying attention at that moment.
Well, that's okay. I zoned you out. It happens.
Fixer,
sometimes I start talking, people just tune out. Lancer already picked up by Pstory, but I think I would expect to see it from Emess. It's a wide map. I think it would make sense to see it picked up by them. Obviously, no Fixer. Again, do you expect to see the Scorch? Was one thing I mentioned here specifically. Do you see the Scorch in just a fill for the Vi, or is it the Kestrel that you pick up instead?
I mean, Vi replaces Scorch in Incend grenades, right? But you don't have that EMP from Vi, but you do get a tear gas that can kind of disorient someone, especially on a map like Canals where you kind of throw it into a doorway. They can't really push through that. And if they want to, you can kind of just collapse on them once they come through a door of tear gas. You know, if they're trying to push through that tear gas and not be in it, but they want to push into you, you can kind of punish them for overextending. And then also Vi, just with the ability to create space with that poison she brings to the table, right? And you can give herself some health in her pool as well. So I think Vi's the better option than Scorch in the respawns, but I think Scorch will work just fine because Vi is banned. On a map like Canals, though, everything is going to be a lot close quarter combat, but there is some long sight lines on Canals, being that it is a large map. So I don't know if we're going to see Scorch, but well, you know, these teams, they like to shake it up. They like to do some things that we haven't seen before. I was just trying to check to see if we had any updates for the other matchup.
I do, if you want, but I will tell you right now before I throw it back to you, it is currently 2-0 up for the Cute Hamsters over Banana Smoothies.
Oh, man, the second upset might not happen just yet. There's still a chance that Hefty Cormorant or Right Turtle could do it in the losers finals. But hey, you never know, right? Cute Hamsters, they're looking to make it 5 straight $10,000 championships. So they're looking to come out of that losers bracket as the winners and make it back to those grand finals. And, you know, I'm just excited to get into this because there's no Fixer. Fixer's pretty... We were talking about long sightlines on Canals, right? Fixer, I think Slop played him well on Icarus. Think of what he could do with the Deadeye in his hands and seeing through smokes on Canals. We won't see him because he was banned. So we could see something like a Talon. We even saw Talon on Canals yesterday in Strikeout and in Demolition, both on the defense and the attacking side of that demo as well. So that could be a large factor that comes in. He has a Deadeye, and he can also give you intel with that dart.
Yeah, I mean, a lot can happen with the Talon if it gets picked up, getting a lot of intel. And I think we want to get some intel from you. If you want to hit us up on our social media, you can see it on the bottom of the screen at CMG Rogue, hashtag CMG 10k. Let us know how you're feeling about the games so far, about the format, all the good stuff that you'll be tuning into. And of course, if you want to sign up to play, checkmategaming.com. Also on the bottom, if you want to play in future tournaments, there are Roco tournaments happening all the time there. So hop on, sign up, find a team, and get playing.
Yeah, 3:30 and 8:30 Eastern is mainly when those tournaments are happening for Rogue Company. Not $10,000 worth, but you know,
no.
if you want to get your name out there in the competitive scene, or if you need some practice with your team, that's the for sure way to do it. If you can't find scrims or you're not well connected within the community, whether it's through a Discord or on Twitter, you can kind of get your name out there and start to gather those connections by beating them in a Rogue Company tournament during the week. Okay, that's like the best way. That's how people become friends. You know, my best friend, I beat him in a game, and then he said, "You know what? Let's be friends." And I was like, "No." And then I was like, "Okay, never mind. We can be friends." But checkmategaming.com, where you can sign up and play in tournaments on a daily basis, not just in Rogue Company. There's some other games on there as well. But speaking of games, let's jump into game number 3 on Strikeout. We've got our Rogues locked in. We've got Right Turtle up 2-0. We've got Hefty Cormorant trying to extend the series. We've got winners finals. We've got Kresnik. We've got myself. We've got everything we need here.
All we need to have is a good game, which I am thoroughly expecting between these teams. And look at this synchronized dance. How can they not be ready to roll out here on Strikeout on Canals against Right Turtle? Only difference in the composition here, I mean, you see Seeker on one end, you see Scorch on the other, so the Scorch does come out. They have the double up on corner pressure coming out from Hefty Cormorant with that Scorch and that Kestrel, and playing the intel game instead. But you said it, we're going to see the Lancer coming out, but not the same look from it. You see Canny pop the Rage, get aggressive, down Pulsza, and they have a strong hold now on the site.
Ooh, and look at this little 1v1 happening off in the corner, and Emess gets taken out. And this is just VOD reviewing saying, hey, we saw Emess being a wreaking havoc against Cute Hamsters on the flanking Lancer. So let's take care of him. That's exactly what they were able to do. Gotti playing very well in that backside for them. And look at this double down. Whew. Firmly in the driver's seat is Hefty Cormorant here in game number 3. Who's that? Finds another one onto Pulsza. Right Turtle just cannot catch a break very early on in game number 3.
And I think the biggest chance for them to catch that break is going to be this flank by Emess. He's already up here behind them. Has to potentially fight into 2 players that do know he's here. But he has a Semtex maybe, and he's dodged all this damage, so they might not have that intel. Looks like Who's Dead has a pretty good idea. They might be climbing up in the window behind, and now they're here for the crossfire. They just don't know. There's always a player lurking in the corner. This time it's Gotti. Gotti gets downed, but is still standing. He's able to, he'll res himself, go back to the respawn on his own accord, but he lives for so long, forces them in every time. The Right Turtle makes space. They are caught off guard by a hiding player from Cormorant.
Finally, some breathing room as Slop was able to take out Pstory at the top of those steps inside the objective, which is on that A site normally, which is the inside of the ship towards that A site on demo. This is Strikeout, however, so that site is inside. Emess does find Who's That, finds Cannibals, nice little double. The 2-piece might allow him to start to snowball, get some good things going for himself. No respawns available now that Emess fell. 4 still on the board for Cormorant. They have 2 team fights to work with here. They find Gotti. Slop finds another. Prosper went down. He also got one down himself, so they traded out. But only 1 respawn available for Cormorant now, and 1 member already done and completely out.
Brutal.
For the side of Right Turtle. Now Who's That? Canny, they work together and take out Slop. This is where things are going to get very difficult. 2v5.
Especially with Pulsza beefing his shots at the very beginning. I mean, there's no chance here with the rest of them flooding in. I think that Cormorant played so well around their number advantage. It is all onto the lives you have left here on Strikeout. When they're like, all right, well, they have nothing left. Prosper's holding an angle. Okay, maybe we would take it slowly and take a risky, you know, one-on-one with a pinch happening from the backside. Let's just flood in. We're probably going to kill him. If we kill him, then we have an easy retake 4v3 right afterwards. I think they played their numbers so efficiently. And they're showing power, strength on Strikeout. that we hadn't been able to see over the last couple of weeks, with only King of the Hill being in the rotation in those best of threes. See if that continues here on the second site in the center of the map. This middle warehouse, you can already see Emess gearing up for a flank, and he might be running into Who's Dat.
Oh my goodness, and Who's Dat? It's Who's Dat meeting him and gunning him down very early on. This time the objective will be in the center, and this is a bloodbath type of objective on this map. My Story Cannibals find one apiece. Never mind My Story. He found a second one, the two-piece. This time the Lancer making it happen is My Story and not Emess. Strikeout looking totally different for the side of Cormorant compared to that King of the Hill in game number 2. Now, kind of just trying to find any way to break into this site. Emess on the flank, has the quick and quiet, but he gets noticed. Doesn't matter. He finds that. Gotti also fell to Prosper.
Enemies have the objective.
Huge flank.
That's on Emess worked out.
And that's what it has to keep happening, right? Or else their play just won't work. They are really banking on the flanks paying off. And when it doesn't, they are not going to be anywhere near as successful. And here we go. There's the flank from Story working out just a little bit better. You see these Halo drones, but it hits the railing, but it doesn't. I thought that might have been the end of that push, but still getting players very low, giving the rest of his team a chance to go for their reses. But they still aren't holding on to this objective. It's still Right Turtle with their hands on it for now. Cormorant just trying to find a way in, but they are protecting their tickets. But now they're getting Halo droned back, and more time is getting bought by Right Turtle.
And they still have the lead, tickets-wise, by just 2. It's a lot closer than it was before. Semtex kind of at the top of the stairs to keep them from pushing as heavily, but they didn't care. They didn't get hit by the Semtex, but they pushed. But Emess still wins that fight, wins the second one as well. Meanwhile, the rest of his team is gunning down the other 2 members. Now the respawn's starting to come through. 4-6. Still a close game, but this time the lead has swapped. It's still +2, but now Right Turtle's in the driver's seat. They have control of the objective. Huge flashbang coming out.
Wow.
Pulsza finds My Story off of the back of that as well. He has a Sahara in his hands. I believe he's playing the Chalk, and look at this little 1v1. Cannibals, no match. The Semtex comes out. You don't expect that man Seeker to have a Semtex, but when he does, you could surprise someone just like that. Coming out the door, Emess finds another one onto Gotti. Pulsza found Who's That again. Immune. Doesn't matter. He's backing up. Finally, just trying to keep them at bay. Says, you know what? I know where you are. I'll chow this. Doesn't matter. Canny finds one, but it doesn't matter. That's the end. Round 2, and we're tied at 1 apiece.
Switching sides.
They understand the spawns so effectively. I mean, why would Pulsza be roaming all the way over there on that lurk way back on that ship by the initial site that we saw on this map? I feel like there's no reason to do that unless you are commanding the respawns, unless you have some really solid intel on that. He downs 2 from that long rotating position. You could use the utility on that fight as well. And just having that command of the map, having that understanding of where the game's going to respawn you on this mode, it gives them the edge that they need to come out on top of that. And then, just like with Cormorant, they play the number game. They shove a bunch of people into a single choke to really take advantage of the numbers that they have. But this time, once again, Emess's flank not paying off.
Yeah, he got met by a flanking Lancer on the other side. My Story finds him. You were talking about chokes at that moment. That looked like a choking Lancer in a little bit of a choke themselves, but Prosper able to down My Story with the help of Emess once that respawn came through. Seeker arrow comes out, doesn't reveal not a single person. No one got revealed by that. He ends up finding Emess. Pulsza went down as well. Gotti got taken out. 14-10 now. The lead in control. My Story and the rest of Cormorant trying to finish this game off. Still 2 more rounds at the very least, as you got to win 3 in a strikeout.
Still plenty of time left to go for either of these teams, but I don't know if there's going to be a lot of time left in this round, the way that it's going for Right Turtle, getting just torn to pieces on their way in. They're holding every door, and those little one-on-one fights they tried to take did not pay off, and now massive number advantage in favor of Cormorant. They can just, again, take these number advantage fights and win it, but if you're going to win 1v1s, why even bother, right? Play it even safer if you're going to just end up on the better end of it almost every single time. Who's Dad practically just winning 2 duels, one after the other, and the adrenaline shot not enough to keep Slop alive. Barely. It is 10 HP remaining. They're setting up for a push, and that initial pick might let them get in. They need to swing this point back and forth, but they're giving up 2 tickets to do it.
2 tickets to give it up. Now with a 7-ticket lead is Cormorant. It looks like they own the A site. They own the C site. It's just that Bravo site in the middle that they had a little bit of trouble with. Maybe that's due to being able to not spot out Emess, saying, you know, he can come from the left, he can come from the right. When you're on an objective all the way on the left or the right side, you can kind of say, okay, well, he's going to be coming from this direction because there's more room on that side. That's where the flank's going to be coming from most likely. 7-2 now, and oh my goodness, who's that holding his angle and holding it down long enough to get that kill? Here's another one coming out from Slop, however. Kills being traded in and out, and you can kind of see the difference. Slop on Kestrel compared to Emess in game number 1. Huge difference.
In terms of playstyle, I think that's one of the biggest differences here. Look at this. Pulsza was trying to do that same flank spawn hold again, but just getting spawn advantaged and run down. Prosper gets 1 down here. Obviously, Story will respawn. Prosper with 3 downs. Basically, the hero play here for him now, knocking them down to 0 respawns. It's a 2v4. That's not impossible, especially with Emess about to surprise who's that. Semtex in hand. That's 1, but he lost Prosper in the process. Prosper won't be able to get out. The Semtex has to find it down if he wants to be successful, but he's stuck with so much utility behind him. Only 1 corner that he could possibly play, and completely blind. Is stuck here, still no one willing to push him. Now he's stuck, has to run through the fire and flames, and the damage is coming in from Gotti to catch him on the way out there. That's a lead for Hefty Cormorant. Their first one in a respawn that they've had, and looking like it is a deadlift by Canny and Who's Dat. 17 downs each.
Only 4 for Gotti. I mean, he's got 15 assists, so he is doing something. He's getting some shots out there, but man, oh man. He's got to be kicking himself saying, why can't I finish any of these myself? Why can't I get these knocks? He's got to find a way to maybe contribute a little bit more here. Yeah, that instant at the end of that round, however, Gotti went massive with that one. Trapped him in the corner. If he tries to go through, you just spray in the doorway. He'll be very low by that time. Good job from him to finish that off. That was looking very doable for Emess as well.
Blue, while I have a second, I will let you know a little update. 2-1. Banana Smoothies won the strikeout 3-0, so they are heading to a map 4 on the other side of the bracket while they're still fighting out here to see if they will go to a map 4 or if things will end right here. Already looking good for Cormorant, though. Slight spawn advantage for them and the objective swinging in their favor, but a lot of players down now. The gunfights, the gunny going the way of Right Turtle. They flipped the objective as well, and Slop is in a prime position to punish anybody who dares contest this upper area. Canny living on a prayer, it looked like, up top, as they're now setting up for one more offense to flip it with only a 1-ticket deficit.
Yeah, that makes me want to know what that game 2 score was on King of the Hill, actually, since they were able to win that.
2-1.
Oh, so Banana Smoothies putting up a fight in the respawns. That might be a lot of teams' saviors, so to speak. Prosper finds a double kill. Gotti, though, returns the favor onto Pulsza, but Prosper walks around the corner and finds a 3rd one. Nice kukri to the face. Who's that? It's a kukri hitting you in the head. Slop, though, did find Who's That shortly after, and now it's just trade for trade now. Right Turtle up by 3 tickets. They have control of the objective as well. They had to swap up how they were playing on this site, considering the first time it didn't go so well. 2-1 in the games. Currently, Cormorant does lead, but a small lead of 1 ticket is Right Turtle. 15 seconds to bleed out another.
Oh, Slop winning that fight against Candy. Candy just not trained in at the very beginning of it. Now things going so awry for the members of Cormorant. Another 2-on-1. I was going to say, with only a 1-ticket deficit, you can't really confidently take those number advantage fights, but now they can. It's 5 numbers and they're low on respawns and only a flashbang really to try to split them up, and they can't even cross. Candy taking a lot of damage. The Semtex splitting them even more, and still one player down. They'll go for the res. They're now playing for their numbers, but they'll have to push through a smoke, and they're gonna have no tickets left by the time they make it in.
Oh my goodness, not downing anyone, but just keeping them low health and at bay. Now they're gonna come around. Who's that finds one? Pstory finds another. Who's that finds a third? Wait a second. Prosper just went chalk mode. I would say beast mode, but it's chalk mode at this point. 20 downs to his name, 15 assists. Wait, let's take a look at Gotti. He got 3 downs that round and only 2 assists, so not looking too good for him right now. The only person without double digits in the downs count. Wait, can we go back to the scoreboard? We got to see one more thing here. Okay, the revive's not as important. I thought maybe there was a team that had a couple more, since you do have some helping hands and a lifeline on that Seeker. It doesn't look like that has been too much of a big deal. Gotti finds a 1 with the Incend. A Semtex got a kill. A Bounce Nade got a kill. Finally, the bullets coming out the guns are getting some kills. Did he just get stuck with the Semtex and he survived because of tenacity or headstrong? Excuse me?
I think so, and they're going to repair the armor too, so he'll be ready to live through another one if that does become the case. But now you can see them starting to make some ground. I like who's that playing outside, catching the flankers. Obviously, Emess just failed on a very long flank, so they might be expecting them to do it again. And of course, they have all the info in the world that they need. Emess just walking out too far. Maybe they play around this. They can go for the res if he won't push it. Who's that knocked so dangerously low, but no utility to really finish it off. He's watching this so he can stop at any time, but he's a little bit too far out. He does end up getting the better end of it. Who's that had such a huge advantage and still ends up losing that fight. They're forced off the point. This will be a flip for Right Turtle, and Pulsza's in a great position to punish them on their way back in. Down there, but
not too big of a lead here, but who's that finds one with the Bounce Nade. Another Semtex kill. Candy finishes him off, and now Emess. Oh my goodness, he wins that fight, but he goes down shortly after to Gotti. Candies will finish him off, and that's mainly a big win for the side of Cormorant. It's 2-2. Whoever wins this is overtime. They're going to be taking game number 3. Right Turtle could end the winners finals right now if they're able to win this game. It's not looking too good for them. Only 4 tickets available, 10 for the other side. Slop does find 1, but 2 members go down. Never mind, Pulsza's making plays with just a burst pistol in his hand. Finds Cannibals. Find who's that. Pstory, he knows he's there. He has the intel he needs. His team comes to help him out, but flashbangs are flying in from Cannibals. He's getting hits, and there's flashbangs being return fired. Slop finds 1 with the Bounce Nade, and now the shots are starting to come out from both teams. And Pulsza still finding another double to help his team out. 0 respawns available for the side of Right Turtle. Only 3 for Hefty Cormorant. Still a big advantage. Knowing that you can go into a team fight and possibly come back out of it still alive.
And Blue, this is going to be so difficult because they have so much utility to spend on the side of Cormorant. But look at that. Who's that? The first one to go in. They do get a trade for it at least, which is all they really need to play for. But now they're losing their numbers on this in, and they will be able to get this res. If they have that, Semtex has to be huge, and it finishes off Pulsza. That's a gun guaranteed to be out of the picture. But it's just a 4 versus 3, and who's that might be giving away his life. Still ends up on the better end. Katana downing Prosper as well. It's only a Lancer still standing, and victory will go the way of Hefty Cormorant. They do swing it back in their favor. That utility advantage comes into play when they come back around near the end of that. That's what the respawns are going to give you. They're going to give you those nades. They're going to give you those abilities right back in time to swing the round back into your side.
30 downs for who's that? I think he was the top in the game there. On the Kestrel, And that's a lot of money in the bank for, that's what, 30,000 off downs and then another 30,000 because of her passive. So $60,000 alone just from the downs, no assists, no anything else. I mean, that was looking really good for Right Turtle towards the end. They were winning some gunfights. They kind of trapped them outside the window in the door. If they come in, it's kind of a kill box, but then they go down, they go for that revive, but then that's when Cormorant attacked and just jumped inside. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those replays from game number 3. Hefty Cormorant finally get a win on the board after taking out Right Turtle 3-2 in strikeout game number 3, which means that we're going to a game number 4. It's 2-1, still in favor of Right Turtle.
Right Turtle with a solid advantage and going to a game mode that they looked very, very strong on, I think both yesterday and so far today. Strikeout maybe just not their forte. Worked out against cute hamsters, but just not as well here. Cormorant, though, they were looking a little more confident near the end. We did see some gunfights falling apart for them when they didn't really have momentum. They'll have to swing that into their side. But this clutch power from Prosper here near the end of that 4th round in that corner, the same exact trick that the members of Cormorant were pulling in round number 1 kind of turned against them. See if they can kind of figure that out as they go forward. So the bands just apparate to the top of the screen. Not sure if that's a repeat here, and it will be potentially Fixer and Vi, but Cormorant running away with that strikeout, going to Favela's King of the Hill here. Same bands will be repeated from here in map number 4, Blue.
Same bands seem like, well, it seems plausible. I mean, in that King of the Hill on Icarus, Slop, he went huge on that Fixer. Vi still really, really good in King of the Hill and strikeout. But we're going to Favelas, like you mentioned, for King of the Hill. Vi, Fixer, not available. Will we see the anvil? Yes, sir. I can almost guarantee it.
I'm positive. On this map, I'm almost positive we're going to see
I'll be surprised when he's
flashes.
not banned and he doesn't get picked.
There's just, there's going to be a chalk on the other team. There's going to be flashes flying into sight. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm specifically saying in a King of the Hill, there's going to be a chalk. He's just so good at taking ground and dueling at close range with that SMG. You got to take the anvil. He can fight off multiple people that are running at him at once if they're even slightly mistimed. He has the flash immunity. Exactly what you're going to want. On top of that shield, of course, here on Favela's map number 4, Cormorant managing to strike back on the strike out, but they have to prove they can be King of the Hill on King of the Hill if they want to continue in this set for map number 4. We can already see the things locked in, and there is no anvil, Blue.
Oh, the streak's been broken.
They heard you.
The streak has been broken.
You willed it out of existence by mentioning it.
Good, because, with 100% pick rate, if he's not banned, I get bored. There's nothing for me to do with a Google spreadsheet. Now I get to do something. You know what I'm saying? But we are going to see the Kestrels coming out, the Chalks as well, the Scorches and the Lancers, full mirror matchup. Oh, I was going to mention, it might be possible we see My Story come in on the Sigrid, but of course that won't happen. Yesterday he used it on Hollows for King of the Hill, I believe. Might have been a strikeout, and he was playing with the shotgun. First time we saw the S12 Tactical in action.
Well, if it was clearly was successful because it got them a win there, but not something they want to pull out everywhere. Here, Slop really down with the Halo drones as they take some pressure here. Pulsza's in a really fantastic position, but just can't peek again. 1 HP, obviously not going to be enough to win a gunfight there as Cormorant take a strong lead here in the big warehouse up on this high ground, and this is a very, very tough thing to break into. You're going to have to spend the utility, and are they willing to do that, or are they just going to shift away? And it looks like they're going to just shift away, but they're already getting gunned down on the cross.
Yeah, that's a tough cross. They kind of made that decision maybe a little too late, and now they are paying for it with their lives. The setup for hill number 2 not going so well at all, as they are getting quickly deleted from my eyesight. Now that sight being hill number 2 already being taken over. 48-1 and still counting. 50 now.
Brutal.
Up by 50 plus. Hefty Cormorant very upset that they lost that King of the Hill. Very upset that they lost the demolition maybe not as much as that King of the Hill, but they want to win this game. They want to push this to a game number 5, possibly even reverse sweep the matchup. Canny finds one. My Story finds another. Slop does return the favor, and maybe that's what they need, because now Prosper finds who's that. And could this start the snowball effect and get Right Turtle back into this? They're already rotating for hill number 3. They've given up on hill 1 very early, but they've given up on hill 2 even earlier.
That's crazy to me that they're willing to give this up. There is so much time left. It's not even close to what I would consider the end of it, but I guess they're just hoping to really swing these next 2 around, and they have to be almost perfect. Considering the amount of time, they're going to be potentially 110. So they actually gave up the hill early on the side of Cormorant to go and contest this, but 100-1. Again, we're going to need to see almost perfect play from Right Turtle for the rest of this if they want to keep things as close as they were, and things are already looking a little far from perfect with early damage on the players that are trying to rotate out. They're all stuck inside this garage, and I feel like they're just going to get surrounded and swarmed, but a missed Semtex might be a saving grace for them, with Pulsza holding close by, unseen so far by Cormorant.
Yeah. Nice quick down there from Right Turtle. Looking to get the second one. They do. Pulsza, Emess working very well together. Did he get stuck? Emess, you're dirty for that one. Through the Semtex. Strafed right into it. Got him stuck. Here's a little gift. You may look like me. We may be the same character. But you are not built like me. That's what he was saying right there. Slop getting zoned out as well by his counterpart. My Story on the Kestrel as well. They're already starting to rotate as well. They know they only need 50 to win. Meanwhile, just now reaching that 65-point mark is Right Turtle. And they're also getting some big downs. 3 straight with a double coming from Pulsza.
This might be one of the biggest King of the Hill comebacks I've ever seen if they can manage to pull it off. It's already 100-80, only 18 seconds now, separating them with every member already set up over here. As the timer is now counting down, they pop the overheat as well. No one willing to run into it yet. Canny knocked halfway. He's going to shift back to his team. They have to just peck them off on the way in. It's a 1-for-1 already, and an even trade is an advantage trade if you are holding the point, and it's all even, except now Slop finally weighs things in their favor, and it will be a full even comeback with only 1 point to their name when we swapped to the 3rd hill here, and Emess is in a prime position to make things so much harder for them. Who's that? Knocked down and finished off already. Story looking for something, but doesn't want to push into Emess. They're starting to fear the gunny on Right Turtle.
Yeah, things are taking a turn for the worse on the side of Cormorant with almost a 99-point lead they had going into hill number 3. Now hill 3 and 4 being firmly dominated by Right Turtle as they continue the onslaught. Slop finds 1, 2. Emess got that 3rd one. But oh my goodness, they are putting on a clinic. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know how to hold a sight on favelas perfectly, take a look at hill number 3 and 4 in this first round. Even when you're down 99 points, they're now up 43, make that 44. Time is ticking out. They take round number 1.
Switching sides.
That miraculous comeback was not expected by anyone, I think, Kresnik.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting it. I think that's pretty safe to say. Unreal holds by them. Great transition to the 4th hill as well. If that had been sloppy, it might have been a lot harder for them, but it wasn't sloppy. Even with slop in the name, we're able to still get a very clean transition over to that 4th hill there. A great play by Right Turtle. That has to be a boom to the mental of Cormorant, who were in the lead before. And speaking of in the lead, I will make a quick mention. Cute Hamsters have won their game. It was 3-1 against Banana Smoothie, so they will be waiting for the loser of this match in the losers finals. And Cormorant are looking like they could be that team after what happened in that previous round if they don't recover from that unreal comeback.
Unreal comeback. I mean, even when you're up 16-3 and counting for the side of Hefty Cormorant right now, I mean, Cormorant might just be saying, hey, don't worry if we're down 99. I mean, if they can do it, we can do it better, right? That's what we always used to tell ourselves. Emess finds one. Can he return the favor? Emess finds a second one, and Emess on the Lancer here in game number 4, finally starting to make some noise. They let it go through on strikeout. It didn't work as perfect as it did yesterday. They probably just made them think, okay, we can let him get it again. He doesn't look that dangerous, as he finds another double. And now on King of the Hill, Favelas, game number 4, he is going off.
I love this position right now for these players that are popping off. Emess holding close in the field. Can he? Did he? He must have seen him. He's pushing out for it now. Actually didn't have eyes on him, so Emess will get that pick. Doesn't even know he's not getting double pushed, because why wouldn't they at this point? Story now getting run at so low. Might just get punched. Use the gun instead. Who's that? Still fairly low. Saves himself for one more second, but not long enough. The Hill's still in their favor. They will shift back, but in running down for that kill, they put themselves right into Gotti's crossfire. He gets that one. No one counting up now. Finally, Cormorant actually making their way onto the objective now to get it, but they're getting flanked from this high ground.
Slop finds another one onto my story. 42-36. And they have control of the objective for Hefty Cormorant. It is still Hill number 2. Not much time left on that clock. Look how close the score is this time around. Didn't opt to rotate a little too early on both hills from the side of Right Turtle. But now they're just giving up that garbage time, and Semtex Incent, everything being thrown at Kestrel. She gets taken out. Prosper finds another one on the Gotti. And Right Turtle, once again, early rotation might just work out for them, because when the hill starts, they have it. Down by 7, but that's okay. Respawn's coming through for the side of Cormorant. Look at that nice crossfire from Warehouse, and then on the left side, I don't know if Pulsza knows that they're going to be behind him, jumping in and on top of the car. He got revived.
Oh, they're still holding on, though, for now. It's so dead even, but the last standing player of Cormorant will be the one inside of the hill as the rest of the respawns coming in now. Who's that? Loses the gunfight to Emess. Emess trying to push the issue, finds Story on top as well. They'll swing this one back in favor, and what a far cry from what we were seeing in the previous rounds. This is dead even, neck and neck, 70-67. At this point, you can already see Cormorant giving up the high ground to play on hill number 4, even as they still counted up. They're hoping for a perfect defense. They're not contesting it whatsoever, and they're going to need it to be perfect, but nothing's been perfect so far in this round. It's all been back and forth, so I don't think you can really guarantee that. And I don't know if is it worth to give Right Turtle such a hefty lead going into this final hill.
I don't know. We saw it work out for Right Turtle in the first round, but now they just gained 20-plus points in that garbage time because of the early rotation from Cormorant. And now it is not working out because Slop and Pulse are going crazy. Walking around with Stalker, padded, doesn't matter, just taking everyone out. Look at the Halo drones predicting that someone is going to be respawned and coming from that direction. Maybe the call out came from whoever was on top of the truck to begin that initial engagement. But he said, you know what? We're going to hold this. 1:12 and counting, 40 seconds remaining. Cormorant's got to get in there. They're going to have to take this to sudden death, obviously, with the way the points are working out. 122, Pulsza helps out and finishes off 1. Slop gets taken out, but Prosper still holding strong on that objective. 130, 20 seconds remaining on the timer, but only 15 remaining. If Cormorant cannot get on this objective, now no one is on it, so it gets neutralized out. Still 137-73. Now Cormorant's starting to gain some points, but it will start to get neutralized once again. Kresnik there moving in, and they are taking firm control. Right Turtle might not have what it takes to finish this off 2-0, but they will try their hardest. Gotti, however, holding very strong, but he gets shot at from behind. Emess on the flank once again, and it's all over. He was the only one on the objective. Time had ran out. And that's it. 2-0 in the King of the Hill for the second time. Right Turtle takes the King of the Hill in this matchup. And Right Turtle over Hefty Cormorant 3-1. They were the 5th seed, and they beat the number 1 seed yesterday in the winner's bracket. Now here in the winner's final, they take out the number 2 seed. Right Turtle, your EU powerhouse, will move on to your grand finals. They've guaranteed themselves a top 2 spot, Kresnik. As we take a look at these replays from that last match, tell me your thoughts on what we just watched. From the 99 point comeback and then some to that very tightly contested second round.
We saw a team kind of figuring out Hefty Cormorant, feeling out how they had played against them in the past when they matched up in some of those earlier brackets, as you mentioned. And the one map they kind of fell apart on for it was, guess what? It was that King of the Hill, not King of the Hill, the Strikeout, the game mode that they hadn't played against them before. So I think they just finally understood what they needed to do on these King of the Hill modes, when they needed to time some of their rotations, when Cormorant was going to make their own move so they could catch them out. I think that was a big part of what let them transition so easily from hill to hill. They were constantly finding people that were actually mid-shift from point to point. You can't really effectively hold a sight on one side of the map to the other unless you have that down pat, unless you are catching them perfectly when they are making these moves.
Man, that was a treat to watch, and it's always interesting to see when Right Turtle is considered an underdog, even though they've been such a great team and force to be reckoned with throughout the past couple months. Hefty Cormorant with only one. Right Turtle will move on to the grand finals after winning this match 3-1. They took the first game, Demolition, 8-6. Excuse me. They ended up winning game number 2, 2-0. And they won game number 4, 2-0 as well, with Hefty Cormorant's only win on the Strikeout, like you mentioned, 3-2. That even went to overtime, so that could have been Right Turtle's third win as well. Just Cormorant was able to win that last round a little bit, or play it a little bit better, obviously. That's why they won it. But still, I mean, that was great. Hefty Cormorant will go down to the losers bracket. They face off against Cute Hamsters in that losers finals. Cute Hamster, they beat out Banana Smoothies simultaneously during the matchup that we just saw on the broadcast. So Banana Smoothies will get fourth place in our tournament this weekend. Cute Hamsters and Hefty Cormorant fighting for third place. We're fighting for top 2. Winner will have to go up against Right Turtle in the grand finals coming up right after this break.